All right, joining us next on the TV set at Inspire and Connect Asia is Natasha Ann LUM. She is a software engineer and co-host of tech podcast Rag Tech. Natasha, it's wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Audrey. Yeah, and just now you were asking me how you should introduce me. I think right now, like that description seems pretty succinct.
That's good? Okay.
I know I do a lot of random things in the background, but my 9 to 5, I'm a software engineer. So I work for an organization in public service, but I like to talk about my 5 to 9 more. So one of the 5 to 9s, it's like you described, I do co-host a tech podcast where we talk about the realities of life in tech, and we try to bring more awareness about life in tech, as well as trying to make it fun and accessible. So that's one. I'm also a community lead at a local women in tech community called Women Devs SG. That community is my entire heart, and it brought me to the 2 different co-hosts that are on me with the show. That's where we try to empower more women in tech with different skills, not just technical skills, but also public speaking skills and other soft skills needed to navigate the workplace. And we're trying to get more women to be visible in the area of tech.
Wonderful. So you have quite a full plate there. Do you get any sleep? That is my next question.
That is a good question. Probably not as much as the average person, but I've learned to function slightly less.
Okay. 5 to 9, 9 to 5, you know, the grind keeps going. Let's start with maybe your opinion on what parallels can be drawn between the development of the internet and the rise of AI. What lessons can we learn from all of this that's going on?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'm also an ex-researcher. So my research used to be about the development of the internet as a technology, and I was tracing it through different intellectual property. And I worked with the father of the internet himself, Dr. Leonard Kleinrock, and he came to visit just last week, actually. So wow. I've had a lot of thoughts about that. We were both talking and trying to compare the similarities and differences between the development of AI versus the development of the internet. And I think a big part of it is the internet had about 25 years before it hit mass market. It came out in 1969, and then 25 years after that, then the dot-com boom came about and it burst into the commercial space, right? So 25 good years to figure out a norm around it for researchers to continue to fault find. But AI, with that development, it just burst into the commercial space immediately, right? And we don't have that same time to actually talk about like the negative externalities that can come out such a good technology. So that would be my greatest insight that I took away, especially from last week. And now I'm really trying to spread that awareness. Like I know this Inspire and Connect Asia, we're probably talking a lot about the potential of AI, but we also have to be very aware of the pitfalls of it as well and start taking action now.
I'm glad that you brought up the rapid rise of AI. Why do you think it's important for everyone, regardless of age or role or gender experience? Why is it important for all of us to get involved today in promoting technology?
Yeah, for sure. Well, when it comes to the development of technology, there's actually 4 parties involved. I know we all know the big tech giants, the developers of the technology themselves, that's one. They're the loudest, they're also profit-driven. We have the researchers who are trying to push the boundaries of that technology. We have the government who is supposed to have those regulations and safety safeguards in place. And lastly, we have the public. So out of this 4, somehow the public is the most silent, don't you think? And with them being silent, a big reason is because they aren't empowered with that technical knowledge to take part in those discussions. And that's why I've really taken upon myself to try to be engaged in the technology advocacy space and really look at the gaps and who's actually not being pulled into this tech conversation. You know, we're looking at, ironically, engineers. Engineers, you think that we're part of the tech conversation, yes, but a lot of us don't talk about tech and society impacts because we're just there writing a siloed feature, pushing fixes to bugs. But when you talk about decisions made on the board, you know, we're not involved in that. So we're trying to get engineers involved. We're also trying to get day-to-day people involved in these conversations as well. People who usually feel very hapless and they just kind of use these technologies without knowing what's actually happening. You don't know that your data is being like taken and profited for free. You think that those things are free, but it's actually not. You know, you look at terms and conditions, but it's not simplified simplified in a way that people can actually negotiate, like, hey, actually, I don't want my data to be used this way. So that's why I think anybody, regardless of age, regardless of role, country, should try to be part of this space and make more noise, so that this fourth party, the public, can make enough noise to shift and influence decisions about technology that affects everyone.
Wonderful, and we know that you're very active when it comes to this field. Could you tell us maybe about some of the ways you engage and help others get involved in tech? For example, maybe through Women Devs SG, your podcast, your work on digital sustainability. Exactly how do you help?
Yeah, sure. I think the first part is to equip yourself with just enough technical knowledge to be part of the conversation. With RegTech, you can watch the podcast online. We try to make tech really fun and accessible. We recently are creating a card game to make tech a little bit more fun.
Okay.
But I think the whole understanding here is that we're trying to create common language. Because with that same common language, that's when you can actually start talking to engineers, researchers, that regulators, if equipped with this kind of knowledge, can start saying things like, hey, I looked at this part of your source code. This is the part I have issues with. These conversations are not taking place right now because regulators don't understand the technology enough. So the first part, definitely equip yourself with as much technical knowledge as you can through, different forms of media. The second part is to find platforms to engage in nuanced conversation, and I put focus on nuance. Too often, on social media, we think we're being part of the conversation by giving very binary comments like, I don't like this piece of content because you're telling people to use AI, and I think AI has environmental impacts. I'm going to cancel you.
Right.
And people shut off the conversation right away. No, we should be engaging in nuanced conversations. So asking, why don't you think it's good to boycott AI if it's having these environmental impacts? What other things can we do to safeguard? So the second bit is find a platform and have nuanced conversations.
All right, wonderful. Well, software engineer by day, co-host of a podcast by night, Natasha Ann LUM. It was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us at Inspire Connect.
Thanks, Audrey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.